everyone, and welcome to YarnGasm. I'm Kristen, and this is episode 223. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back, and if you are a new viewer, thanks so much for checking out the podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, spinning, hand-dyeing yarn, sewing, and making all the things in Brooklyn, New York, where I'm from, and I live with my husband Dennis and our adorable kitten, well, cat, Bella, who is around. Oh, there she is. She just made her appearance. Hey babes, you want to come up and say hello? Say hi, Bella. As always, I'm very happy that you're taking some time out of your day to chat about all these fun things with me. And yes, first things first, I should probably let you know where you can find the show notes for this episode and previous episodes and episodes of the future. Those can be found over at www.yarngasmpodcast.com. And if you would like to follow me on social media, I am most active on Instagram, where I am at Voolenvine on there. And you can also follow me on Ravelry if you choose. I'm also Voolenvine on there. And yes, if you have not joined our YarnGasm Ravelry group, we have a lovely, lively group happening over there, and it's a place to be if you want to partake in some of our knit-alongs and giveaways and enter to win giveaway prizes. You can share your projects, chat about this episode and other episodes. It's just a generally really fun place to be. So definitely check it out. And yes, if you would like to get in touch with me, I will say email is the best way to do that. I am voolenvineyarns@gmail.com. I only say email because I rarely have a chance to check my Ravelry mail. It generally just gets buried in a lot of friend requests and other ear burns and whatnot. So unless you are letting me know that you have won a giveaway prize, the best way to get in touch with me is via email. So there's that, and I'll put all this info in the down bar. But yes, otherwise I am going to move along to some general announcements because I have a lot of exciting announcements to share with you this week. I'm going to chat knit-alongs. We have the giveaway from Mina Philipp of the Knitting Expat podcast. She's generously donated a copy of her Snow Day shawl pattern to one of you lovely viewers. So why don't we get that out of the way first, because if you participated in the giveaway, I bet you're all wondering whether or not you are the winner. So okay, let's do this. And the prompt that I gave in the Ravelry thread was to let us know what your favorite pattern by Mina Philipp is, be it a pattern that you've knit in the past or a pattern that you would like to knit. Just let us know. And the winner is, I used random.org to choose a winner at random, and that winner is NINITANYC, number 114. And she said, I've been looking at the Open Skies hat. Very nice. So congrats, NINITANYC. Please PM me on Ravelry with the subject line that letting me know that you are the winner of this giveaway, and I will contact Mina and let her know that you are the winner, and then she will obviously send you a copy of the pattern. So yay, congrats, and thank you so much again to Mina for the super generous, beautiful pattern donation, and congrats on publishing. So moving along, I have a couple of announcements to share with you, some really big, exciting announcements, and the first one is that I am going to the Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I am super excited, you guys. If you follow me on social media, on Instagram, you may have seen the post, but I posted it literally like a minute after we booked the flight and hotel, and I did the biggest happy dance you can imagine. I've never been before, and I wasn't even sure if it was gonna happen, but Dennis and I talked about it, and we did a little research last weekend for some flights and hotels, and we found a really good deal, so could not be more stoked to be going there. And again, I've never been to Scotland or the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, but I have been to London before, so that was, as you well, in the UK I have been to London and I have been to Dublin, but this will be the first time I've ever been to Scotland, so I could not be more excited, as I stated earlier. So yeah, and I'm trying to think what I want to say about it. I guess I will, you know, fill you in as far as, you know, details closer to the date as far as my whereabouts and stuff are going to be, but for the most part it's just going to be me. I'm not going to be vending there. Just Kristen is going, not Voolenvine Yarns. But yes, if you do see me wandering around, please come up and say hello. I know there is a podcaster meetup. I haven't decided if I'm going to partake in the podcaster meetup, only because I will say that for me, it's just a little, it's a little overwhelming. Don't get me wrong, I really truly enjoy meeting viewers of the podcast. So yes, if you do see me wandering around, do come up and say hello. I will hug you and chat with you, and more than happy to do that with you. But when it's just in one location and everyone coming up to me at once, as it happened at Rhinebeck, it was a little overwhelming for me, and I kind of want to avoid feeling overwhelmed. I want to have fun. So I haven't decided yet, but I will definitely keep you posted as far as if I do partake in the podcast or meetup. But for now, I'm just gonna say that, you know, because our time is limited, I will just be there on Saturday. I definitely want to get the most out of the festival, so I may just go the route of just wandering around and seeing all I can see while I'm there, because I will have Dennis in tow, and I know he is, you know, he made me promise just one day at the festival, and the rest will just do sightseeing. We'll just do sightseeing because I'm excited to see Scotland as well. But yeah, more, you know, details to come, so I will definitely keep you posted. And the next announcement that I have to share with you is that Anne from Little Skein and the Big Wool has so wonderfully invited me to be a part of her Enchanted Forest collection / kit that she will be debuting at Stitches West this year. So I will not be attending Stitches West, but she will be having a booth there and debuting her Enchanted Forest kit, which is a collaboration with me and a handful of other really wonderful indie hand dyers. And the idea was for each indie hand dyer to pick a fairy tale, one of their favorite fairy tales or mythological creatures, and dye colorway based upon that. And of course, if you know me, I jumped on the opportunity and went with, drumroll, the last unicorn, because I am all about unicorns. They are so my jam, and I could not resist the opportunity. So thank you, Anne, so much for asking me to be a part of this this collaboration. It was so much fun. Dyeing the yarn was super fun, and I did post about it on social media yesterday. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to, but she gave me the green light, so of course I went all willy-nilly and got super excited about it and posted a photo of the colorway. But in case you missed it, here it is. And if you're wondering, but KRISTIN, why is it minty green or seafoam green? Aren't unicorns supposed to be purple or pink or white? Or, well, truth be told, according to the book by Peter S. Beagle, the original book, The Last Unicorn, I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember the direct line from the book, but he describes the unicorn as being a careless shade of seafoam green at some point. So that's where I drew inspiration from it. And also the cartoon. So I thought it was very fitting, and I could not be more excited about this colorway, you guys. I actually watched the cartoon yesterday as I was labeling, and I honestly had not seen the cartoon in so long. I think I was maybe like not even 10 years old when I first watched the cartoon, and memories. Anyway, but yes, she will have a limited amount of these skeins at Stitches West, but then she's going to order some more yarn from me for those of you who are not going to be able to attend Stitches West to purchase online. And then 3 months from now, I believe, I have to double check with her, but this will eventually become a regular in the shop. So fret not, this will be a regular, and you will have a chance to nab a skein, because this is too pretty not to make a regular, you guys. I could not be more happy with it. So yay, definitely check that out. And yeah, again, thank you so much, Anne, for letting me be a part of this collaboration. So okay, I think that's it for announcements and general administrati for the podcast. But before I get into what I have been making this week, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of all the knit-alongs that are currently underway. And if you're not interested, I will just put a timestamp in the down bar for you to skip ahead to the nitty-gritty of the episode. So, but yeah, just to give you a quick rundown, and if you are interested in any of the details, just hop on over to the YarnGasm Ravelry group, where all the details and info are there. But I'm just going to give you a quick, as I mentioned, rundown. So first of all, we have the Box of Socks knit-along, which is a year-long knit-along, yay, which is going strong, very strong. There are so many posts in that thread, guys. You need not look anywhere else for inspiration, as I say every single week. It's just an awesome thread, so do check that out. And again, I created a bundle for if you need any more inspiration to, you know, if you're tired of vanilla socks or you're new to sock knitting, there is a bundle of sock patterns for you to pick and choose from and be inspired. And then there's the Honey Cow, which I'm co-hosting with Nina from the This Old Knit podcast. And just a quick note, we had originally said that the knit along would be from December 1st, 2016 to March 1st, 2017, but we have extended the deadline. So now the new deadline is April 1st, 2017. So you have a whole other month to complete said pattern, and this is open to either the the honey pullover is a pattern by Amy Miller, so there's an adult version and then there's a child's version, so whichever version you would like to knit, feel free to do so and partake in the knit along. And then finally we have the Voolenvine Yarns Shawl Along that is currently happening, and that is ending March 1st, so hop on over there, check out the knit along details. I will say that the Voolenvine Yarns Shawl Along is happening in the Voolenvine Yarns Ravelry group. I have two separate Ravelry groups, one for Voolenvine Yarns, my business, and then one for YarnGasm, the podcast. So just to briefly note that. And I also did want to mention that someone brought it to my attention and wanted to know, like, people, when I do giveaways for my yarn, I generally offer, you know, like, hey, you get a free skein of yarn in a colorway of your choosing. Someone wanted to know if they were a winner of one of those prizes, if they could also do a custom order in addition, pay, you know, like get the free skein, but then pay for additional skeins to make a sweater's quantity. So yes, that is, I've offered that in the past. I've never really advertised it, or it didn't occur to me to offer or advertise that if you were a winner. But yes, if you are a winner of a skein of my yarn, please, and you would like a sweater's quantity worth, just let me know and we can work something out. So just FYI. So okay, whew, got all that out of the way. Let's move along into what I am currently working on. Okay, so moving along to what's on my needles. Sadly, I have no finished objects this week, but then again, I had 2 finished objects last week, so I think I'm good. But anyway, this week I managed to put quite a bit of a dent in my honey pullover cowl, which I mentioned in the knit along section. Again, this is a knit along that I'm co-hosting with Nina from the This Old Knit podcast, and the pattern is by Amy Miller. And the yarn is my hand-dyed yarn, Voolenvine Yarns, in the WOLKE base, which is a lovely, lovely soft merino nylon cashmere blend, 4-ply in, let me see, the main color up here is Tega, and then the contrasting color down here is Dirty on Purpose. And if you can tell, I've separated the sleeves. This is the beginning of the row. And I was watching Nina's podcast, and she was talking about how to carry the yarn when you're switching colorways from the main color to the contrasting colorways. So in the back here, I don't know if you can see this, I'm just carrying my yarn by wrapping it around before, like twisting the yarn around itself before I switch the to the contrasting color, if that makes any sense. So I just carry it up so it's kind of tucked in between the new colorway that's coming in. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you can catch my drift there. But then the other trick that I have been doing for the jogless jog, because whenever you switch from one colorway to another colorway and you're doing stripes, you generally get like a jog in the stripe. So to remedy that, to make it look like it's just one seamless join, or one to kind of conceal the color switch, I basically take the right needle and lift the stitch from below up onto the left needle and knit those 2 stitches together, if that makes any sense, to kind of conceal that that color join jog. So I don't know, it's not perfect, it's not foolproof, but you definitely can see it's not as abrupt. So I hope that makes sense. Maybe I'll do a tutorial of some kind on my YouTube channel, just so you can see what I'm talking about. But otherwise, I'm just, you know, this is, as I mentioned, a body sock. I think Nina actually called it a body sock when when we talked about doing this knit along. So, but yeah, otherwise it's just a pure, simple, mindless knit, just around and around and around, striping as you go. So lots of fun. And I love seeing what everyone else is knitting up in the knit along thread. Lots of really fun colorway combinations and everything. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. Yeah, and I'm using, again, High Sharps, my interchangeable needle set, from my interchangeable needle set, US size 4, 3.5 millimeter. And the pattern had called for a US size 5, but I decided to go down just a needle size, just because this is how I got gauge. So yeah, that is that, and making slow but steady progress on that. Again, that is why we extended the deadline to April 1st. And I don't think I mentioned that last week, so I apologize. But yes, we did extend the deadline. So there's that. And then next up, living in my Darn Yarn MN peekaboo bag, which I love, is my Find Your Fade shawl. And I managed, again, not a huge dent in it. I will say, I feel like I have a lot of projects on the needles right now, and because I did have a bout of startitis, and now I'm starting to feel a little overwhelmed by how much I have going on my needles, unfortunately. So I think it's kind of, it's one of those times where I have to kind of like take a step back, see where I'm at on certain projects, and just focus on just a few of those projects just to get them done, because I hate that feeling of just being overwhelmed by all my works in progress, and that's kind of when stuff ends up in area 50, 51, 52, whatever you want to call it, the forgotten abyss of whips, if you will, with you. But yeah, my Find Your Fade shawl, which is ever popular right now, it's a pattern by ANDREA MOWRY, and it calls for seven colorways, seven different colorways. And here's where I am, which is the right side. This is the right side, and I'm mid-row, I apologize. But yeah, I already cast on the 4th colorway. But here's where we are on it. So starting from here, it's unmanageable right now. But here we go. This is the first colorway that I cast on in Skinny Dipping Yarns in her Space Pants colorway. Try saying that 5 times fast. Space Pants, Space Pants, Space Pants. I guess it's doable, you know. Anyway, it was a tongue twister when I said it. So yeah, we have Space Pants, and then it fades into Hush by Hedgehog Fibers in her Skinny Singles, and then some more Hedgehog Fibers in Birthday Cake. I guess because it was January is my birthday month, so you know, birthday cake. Which, by the way, I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who wished me a happy birthday. My birthday was on Tuesday, and you guys truly made my day with all of your wonderful comments, so thank you so much. I forgot to mention that in the top of the episode. I apologize, but thank you so much. It meant so much, so yay, thank you. And yeah, so anyway, moving along, I have now switched over to the 4th colorway, which again is Hedgehog Fibers in the Budgie colorway. And I think it is a perfect transition from like this purple to just a really subtle, like vibrant blue. But again, totally out of my comfort zone, but I kind of dig it. I really am digging the way that this is knitting up. And it's kind of funny because the lace part was kind of kicking my butt, just because, again, like I was listening to, I was watching Danny from the Little Bobbins podcast, and she mentioned that it was just a matter of kind of like turning her brain off, if it makes any sense, to when it came to knitting this part or the lace part, because generally when it comes to eyelets, I have to be very focused and very, you know, pay attention to what I'm doing. But once I found that rhythm, and it totally clicked. Like I totally understood what she was talking about. After you just kind of turn your brain off and you just find a rhythm and you just go with it while you're knitting the eyelet part. I just have to pay attention to the beginning and ending of every row when it comes to knitting the eyelets, just so I know, you know, that they're aligned, that the eyelets are aligning as the way they should, for depending on the row that I am on. So anyway, but yeah, that totally made sense, Danny, if you're watching this. You just really just have to like shut your brain thoughts off and just go with it, you know? Anyway, yeah, now that I found that rhythm, if you know what I mean, it's just kind of flying, and I really enjoy the way that it's knitting up. So, especially this part right here, it's very, yeah, it just makes me so happy. So again, I'm finding my fade as I go. I have no idea what the next colorway is gonna be, but it actually smells really good. Weird. Okay, anyway, sorry. I'll stop sniffing my works in progress. Moving along, I do have something else that I've been working on. Living in my little reindeer bag that I made for myself is my socks that I was attempting to knit 2 at a time again. I have since separated the twins. They are no longer conjoined. No surprise there. But they are now currently tangled. Again, another reason why it's just not happening as far as 2 at a time goes. Yeah, okay, there we go. So for some reason, well, not for some reason, but I decided to knit one of the socks on DPNs. I do have needles available. I do have COCOONs, but my preferred tool of choice to knit socks is High Sharps, but my other pair of High Sharps are currently busy. They're housing other socks that I'm still working on, but for some reason I just went with the wind and decided to transfer this sock in particular over onto DPNs and have been knitting on it like such. And then this one I have on my High Sharps, my other pair. So yeah, this is where I am, and you can see compared to where I was last week, I was still like over here on both socks knitting 2 at a time, and since I have separated them, I've just zoomed, I've flied. And to give you an idea of how fast that I have knit on said sock, last night I had dinner with some friends and we were knitting, and I had just finished the heel of this sock, and then within I want to say like an hour and a half, I'm already here. So that's all the knitting I got on that last night. So amazing, it's flying. I'm very, very happy and excited about that. So yeah, I'm a concurrent 2 at a time sock knitter, I guess. Not where it's all on one loop, if that makes any sense. So I think going forward, I'm just going to knit my socks concurrently, meaning that I'll knit one cuff of one sock, then switch over to the other cuff of one sock, and then knit the leg of one sock, and then knit the next leg of the other sock, do one heel, next heel, you get what I'm saying. So that is, I think, the type of sock knitter I am officially becoming, if that makes any sense. So I have to do a count of like how many times on the podcast I say, if that makes any sense. Just because I know I'm not like the best at explaining things sometimes. But anyway, very happy with the way these are turning out. And again, the yarn is Into the World in their Vampires of Venice colorway. And really, really, really love this colorway. You have no idea. And the contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes are brought to you by Lorna's Laces Shepherd Sock in her Patina colorway. So really beautiful colorway combination. And I am going to enter these into Squirrel Pie Productions. She's doing a contrast along, I believe that's what it's called, where you just knit any socks with contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes. So very timely, because as soon as I cast these on, I was watching her podcast when I cast these on, and she had mentioned that she was doing this knit along. I'm like, oh, perfect. So yeah, these will be entered into that. So very excited. And yeah, definitely check out her podcast because she's awesome. I really enjoy her podcasts. And I will make note of it in the show notes along with everything else that I mentioned in this episode. So yeah, so that's that. And then I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, the only other project that I've been working on my birthday, I did manage to pick up my crochet granny stripe blanket after quite a long hiatus, and it's living in my unicorn magic bag by Awesome Granny. And here is, I did not make a huge dent on it, but I did manage to put a couple of rows in. So where am I? Here we go. So I did 2 rows of, I believe, Katie from Inside Number 23. This was yarn from one of her swaps. I don't recall what the yarn was, but the one that I'm currently knitting, crocheting at the top here is my leftover yarn from Cat Sandwich Fibers in her Let's Play Video Games colorway. So that is I love the way how it just kind of alternates between like this white fun speckled into like this teal blue and picks up on this row below, and then goes back into this really fun speckled and just alternates back into that blue. So really fun. And then I used some kind of variegated red, teal, and green colorway over here. So I really love the way like the color shifts are happening in this. In case you're wondering how many stitches I cast on or I chained, I really just did not count at all. I just chained until I measured it along my bed, the width of my bed, until it just kind of fell over the edges of that, because in case I want to turn it into a bedspread or what have you, it'll be big enough, wide enough, long enough. And then I just, you know, followed the pattern by Attic 24 and kind of fudged the end when I got to it, you know, just made it work, if that makes any sense. Finagled it, if you will. And I'm using crochet hook. I'm using a tulip crochet hook, which is my crochet hook of choice. Michelle Wong had recommended this on her podcast, so not being a total avid crocheter, I just kind of decided to try it out. And sure enough, I really like the way, you know, the grip on it is wonderful. I love it. I cannot recommend these more. But I am using an E-4 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. So yeah, this is the one that I'm using. Okay. So yeah, that's where I am with that. And speaking of minis, I had gotten together with a bunch of knitting friends last night, and Tanya from the Knitting Spring podcast was there, and she so wonderfully, we had agreed to do another swap, and I'm terrible. I didn't realize she was going to bring it there. We were going to do it via mail, but she so wonderfully brought a whole pack of minis for me, and I just have to show you this because it is so pretty. It's like a giant bouquet of minis, you guys. How cute is this? There's so many in here. Tanya, you are amazing. Thank you so much for this, and I cannot wait to put these into my crochet granny blanket, because I am actually running quite low on minis, actually. I am thinking of ripping back some of my when I cast on my Cozy Memories blanket. I don't think I'm gonna work on it anymore. I don't know, it sounds terrible, but I might just rip out some of that yarn from there and start working it into my granny stripe blanket. But how beautiful is that? I love it. So thank you so much, Tanya. So yeah, there's that. And I think that is it for works in progress. Again, feeling a little overwhelmed as far as how many projects I currently have going on at the moment. But them's the breaks. Oh no, I do have something. I do have something else to share with you. So Katie from Inside Number 23 is hosting an ANDI SATTURLUND knit along. She is known mainly for her really awesome retro cropped cardigans and everything, and I could not help but partake in this. So I am knitting the HETTY pullover, the HETTY cardigan, which calls for Aran weight yarn, because I did set aside some Aran weight yarn for myself out of my hand-dyed yarn on my cocoon base. So here's where I am so far with it. I really love the way this is knitting up. It's so quick, guys. If you can imagine, Aran weight just flies off your needles. So I did this on one Saturday, and so I have the back done. This is the back, and then I have one front done, which is over here, and then I'm currently knitting the left front, which I actually have to rip out again and do over because I think I did it backwards. But it's not a big deal. Honestly, it goes so fast, so I have no problem ripping it out again and just knitting it up. But then yeah, it's just gonna conjoin here, join up there, and then continue the body down. So it looks a little short. So yeah, and I actually went down a needle size. Even though I got gauge using the needle size she recommended, I went down a needle size just so I could accommodate my itty bitty titties, if that makes any sense. Because yeah, the smallest bust measurement on there was a 33. I'm a size 32 bust, and the pattern recommended 0 to -2 inches of ease. So I figured that was going to help me out a little bit when it comes to fitting. So that's where I am with that. And yes, I'm using Hi Sharps interchangeables in, let me see, US size 7s, which is yes, US size 7 4.5 millimeter needle. Yay! So that is it for what's on my needles. I'm going to discuss some mail. Okay, so moving on to stash acquisitions. I've been very good. I have not treated myself to any more yarn since Vogue Knitting Live. We'll see how long that lasts, but I am officially on kind of a yarn diet until the Edinburgh Yarn Festival. But I did get together with my in-laws this past weekend, and they spoiled me rotten again this year, you guys. They are just truly amazing. And yes, if you've been following the podcast, you are probably aware that I have not been spinning in quite some time. I have a wheel, I have a Lendrum, which I love. I have a plethora of drop spindles that I've been collecting over the years, but they have since been, they've been dearly neglected over the past, I want to say, year and a half, just because sewing has pretty much taken over my life. But I believe they've renewed my love for spinning when I last met up with them. She discovered this yarn shop in Hudson Valley. It's called the Hudson Valley Sheep and Wool Company, and here's their card. And they have some of the most lovely fiber. They actually have, they have their own sheep, according to her, that, you know, you can see the sheep there and everything, and they shear them and they process the wool and everything. But she gifted me, or she and my father-in-law gifted me 3 bags full of wool of this glorious fiber right here. Let me see, this is 4 ounces of Shetland natural roving. If I can take it out, it is so incredibly soft, you guys. So yeah, this is Shetland. It's just gorgeous. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but it's just this beautiful chocolate brown. Let me see. Yeah, I absolutely love it. But yeah, if you thought that this could not get any more softer or beautiful, they also have, let me see, what is this? Icelandic natural roving, and 4 ounces. She purchased two bags of the Icelandic natural roving, and words cannot describe how buttery soft this is. It's just so, it's like a cloud. So I'm debating whether or not I want to dye it and spin it, but it's just so pretty. So yeah, this has definitely like renewed my interest in spinning again. Not that I ever lost interest, it's just between, I can only have so many like things that I do between knitting and sewing and everything. So, but I definitely miss spinning like you would not believe. I did, my drop spindle did make an appearance, and my Lendrum did make a brief appearance a couple weeks ago. I did take it out and spin on it for a little bit when I was feeling a little overwhelmed with what projects I was working on. But yeah, this is definitely going to be fun to dip into. I might have to dip in ASAP. I don't know, maybe, I don't know, should I dye this? I have to think about it, but anyway, it's beautiful. I might just keep it as is. But thank you so much, Carolyn and Ron. That was really, really awesome. I squeed when I opened the bag. So they had it all wrapped up for me, and I didn't get to open it until I got home. But they also picked up, well, my mother-in-law knows that I recently dipped my toes into weaving, so she picked me up some thread for the warp. So the loom that I purchased, it's a small little lap loom, nothing fancy. It did come with warping thread, but not that much, just like a little spool of it to get you started. So thank you so much. This will definitely come in handy. Again, I still have to, you know, pick that up and finish what I started on there, but she also picked up some yarn for me to weave with. I think she got these on sale, and these are, it's Lindsay by PAKOKKU, and yeah, just some really lovely skeins of, I've never worked with this wool before actually. It's again PAKOKKU, and let me see what's in here. Oh, it's cotton, 64% cotton and 36% linen. So that'll be really fun to work with. And then she knows, she and Ron know that I love Edward Gorey. If you watch the podcast, I'm like a huge fan. And they found this one page in one of his books. It says, an infatigable woman named Bavel had often occasion to travel. On the way she could sit and furiously knit, and on the way back she'd unravel. So they actually framed it for me, which I thought was so sweet and adorable. So this will definitely be going up on my wall. So thank you so much. And then, if that wasn't it, if that wasn't enough, they also picked up, I'm assuming that they picked this up in Cape Cod because that's where the Edward Gorey Museum is. They picked up 15 books and Amphigory, 15 books Amphigory by Edward Gorey. So it's just this really fun book of just you know, oh, they have the, it's pretty much all of his books. They have the Gashley Crumb Tinies. So it's all just here in this one book, which I think is awesome. So really looking forward to just sitting down with this, maybe a cup of tea, and just checking it out and flipping through. But yeah, I really love Edward Gorey, you guys, you have no idea. So there's that. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. I love you, and I will definitely be enjoying all these goodies very soon. So yes, okay, that said, moving along to sewing. So if you tuned in last week, I had mentioned that I was working on a birthday dress, and if you tuned in last week, you might have been expecting me to be wearing said birthday dress that I sewed. But yeah, unfortunately, I did not complete the dress yet, just because there was so much going on. And my sewing mojo was not at its peak, and there are just so many other projects that I wanted to work on. So unfortunately, my birthday dress took a back seat. But one thing I did, well, here's the bodice. So the bodice is complete. I actually, last week, if you remember, I had a whoopsie daisies, but I don't know if you can see that. It's very tiny, but I did a blind stitch to join both layers. So according to the pattern, there are 3 parts to the bodice. There's the lace overlay, the underlining, and then there's the lining. And according to the pattern, I was supposed to sew those separately, you know, 3 separate pieces, and then join them after the fact. But what I did, I had actually basted the lace to the underlining, and then the underlining pieces, and then sewed it together as one piece, and that caused a little bit of trouble. But I did some troubleshooting and decided that I would just blind hem this piece to both pieces together. So I don't know if it's going to be very hard to see. You're not going to be able to see it very well, but I did a blind stitch all across the neckline, going down and over, and it works very well. So this part's done now. That all is left to do is put the skirt together, and then join the skirt to the bodice, and then put an invisible zipper in, and I will have a dress. And again, I have no idea where I'm going to be wearing this now. I have nowhere fancy to go, really, but hey, you know, who doesn't need a fancy dress in their wardrobe, right? But yeah, so this is what give you an idea. Yeah. This is what it's gonna look like technically. So very, very happy, despite the little whoopsie daisies that I had. I'm very happy with the way it's turning out. Very structured, and just, yeah, like all the little details that I put into this is making it so worth it. So really enjoying that. And then I guess I'll talk about what I'm wearing. This, excuse me, is a pattern by McCall's, and I'm totally blanking on the number. I'll put it on the down bar, but it's just a simple wrap dress that I made. Super easy to construct. It's quilting cotton, and this is the second one that I've made, but very happy with the way it's turning out. Very happy with the way it turned out, and it's definitely getting a lot of wear. And I'm noticing that I'm starting to wear my handmade garments a lot more frequently compared to my store-bought garments, which is a good sign, meaning that I'm liking the things, and I'm starting to really like the things that I'm making. So yeah, that's always a good sign. And as I mentioned, I purchased a whole bunch of fabric last week, so cannot wait to dip into those. Still don't know exactly what I'm going to be making with them, but I want to finish my party dress first. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about this week is, if you watch the Handmade in Woolen podcast, hosted by Jenny and Devin, the podcast formerly known as Tiny Paper Foxes, their last or most recent episode, Devin had shared a project that he worked on. It was a Cooper bag by Colette Patterns, and it was really cool. You know, he showed it off. It was made of wax canvas, and I immediately thought that would be the perfect gift for Dennis for Valentine's Day. So of course I hopped on over to Colette, and Devin did mention that they were discontinuing the print version of the pattern, which I was so bummed at, because I hopped over to the website and added it to my cart. They still had the print version in stock, and I added it to my cart, got distracted, came back later on that day, and sure enough, it was gone. But thankfully they're still offering the PDF version. So I purchased that, and I ordered the fabric for Dennis, and I'm gonna share it with you right now. Hang on. So Devin's version is actually made of wax canvas, which is a little more sturdier, more rugged, and more outdoorsy, if you will. But Dennis had been expressing that he wanted a new messenger bag for him to take to work with him during the week. And you know, I told him, yeah, let me know which one you want, because I do still owe him a Hanukkah present. He never got back to me about which one he wanted, and so I figured this would be the perfect opportunity to make him one, because he does need one. And so yeah, I picked out the pattern calls for 2 contrasting fabrics, and I kind of went with the subtle effect, so everything's falling down. So for the body of the fabric, the body of the bag, I can't talk today as usual, is going to be like this gray twill. Like the pattern says that you can use either wax canvas, twill, or what is it, or canvas, what you will. But anyway, I went with twill because I feel like it'll go a lot with his suit or coat. So I'm gonna use a gray, and then I'm just gonna use a basic black twill in here. So yay, it's black. So nothing fancy, but I think it'll be a nice contrast. And then for the lining, I figured this was very kind of architectural because he's an architect, and he's very into like Frank Lloyd Wright and all these case study houses, and it just kind of like Eames, if you will, and this just kind of spoke to me. So I think it'll go very well as a lining, and it's a twill, it's a stretch. It also says like go with like a nylon stretchy twill for the lining, so that's what this is. So I thought it was perfect, and it's fun and not too boring. So there's that. And then I also purchased some webbing for the straps, which you can see here, just black 2-inch webbing, and then some rivets and slides, which I will say was not easy to come by. Fabric.com does not sell slides or rivets, if you will, but I found these on Amazon. They're just 9mm rivets, they're bronze, and then I found these slides. So I thought these would go really nice together, and it comes with a whole bunch, so I can make all the bags, you guys. Yeah, so I think they were like 10 bucks per pack, so I'm set. I don't have to buy any more rivets or slides for quite some time, and I can just sew a project bag as gifts for people, which would be really awesome. So that's what I plan to make for Dennis for Valentine's Day. I also hope to knit him a pair of socks because he's way overdue, and I've had this in my stash for I think a year now. I think the first time I went to Argyle Yarns with Jenny and a group of us, I purchased this classic colorway by Patons, which is it's their blue striped rag colorway. So self-striping. I think he'll like these. They seem pretty sturdy and durable, and I think it'll make a nice, if I can knit them fast enough, I think it'll make for some nice, a nice Valentine's Day present for him. Yay! So anyway, those are my sewing plans as of late. Nothing's, you know, I'm very excited to make a bag, because I've never, aside from project bags, I've never made like a substantial, like everyday outdoor wearing bag, if that makes sense. So yay, super excited about that. So that's pretty much it as far as what I've been making this week. I do have some time to answer some questions from the Ask Away thread, which is a thread in my YarnGasm Ravelry group where you can ask me pretty much anything you'd like pertaining to knitting, sewing, spinning, making, hand dyeing yarn, what have you. So I pulled a couple of questions out of there because it's been a while since I've answered any, but Cat1 asks, "Hi Voolenvine, I just started to explore non-cotton and non-acrylic bases, spurred by my request to knit socks. Can you give a brief, no urgency rundown of popular fibers and their best uses?" Okay, so yay, congrats into dipping your toes into the world of indie dyed yarn and sock yarn and non-acrylic yarn. It's a big step, so congrats, pat yourself on the back. But just give you, yeah, a quick rundown. I will say the most popular fiber you will find as far as, you know, non-acrylic yarn is merino. Merino is very durable, it's very popular, it's very abundant, if you will. So definitely keep an eye out for merino. Superwash is probably your best bet as far if you're looking for sock yarn. Just because it, you know, you can you don't have to worry about it shrinking in the wash. You know, it will last longer, although I always recommend hand washing any hand knit garment, including socks, regardless if it's superwash. So there's merino. Merino with nylon content is also very popular, or polyamide. That adds a bit of structure to your socks, especially if you're hard wearing on them. Some other popular sock yarns are BFL, Blue Face Luster. That it's a little more toothy than merino, but again, very sturdy. It'll last longer. I will say it probably will last longer than some merino yarns. So definitely keep your eye out for Blue Face Luster. And then there's also, I mean, if you're just knitting socks, I would say, yeah, merino with nylon content, and Blue Face Luster are very popular sock knitting yarns. And then if you're going for the luxury bases, alpaca is very popular. It has like a nice draped, you know, it'll give anything that you knit with it a heavy drape to it. It's very warm, usually has a very big halo to it. And then there's also silk. Silk is more, if you're knitting a shawl, it definitely has a lot of drape to it. It will, you know, kind of, you know, it'll bloom as when you block it and grow. So if you're looking for a more elegant wear to whatever you're knitting, definitely go for silk. And sometimes you will find alpaca silk combined. I also do want to mention cashmere. You will often find a lot of merino nylon cashmere blends in sock yarn as well, which can also be used to knit garments. So that is pretty much just a crash course in some popular yarns that you can find if you're deviating from acrylic and cotton yarns. So I hope that answers your question. Moving along, we have a question from Lil Chickadee Yarn, and she wants to know, have you always lived in New York? Would you want to live anywhere else? So yes, if you're not familiar, I was born here in Brooklyn. I lived in Manhattan briefly until I graduated college, and now I'm back in Brooklyn. And I honestly love Brooklyn. I have thought about it. Dennis and I have chatted about occasionally, you know, us moving elsewhere, living elsewhere. I love Maine. Maine is definitely one of my favorite places. I could totally see myself moving to if we ever decided to move. I'm not sure what part, but you know, it would definitely be on the list. I would honestly, like, I would love to visit Oregon, Portland. I've never been before, but I heard great things. So that's definitely on a list of places I would like to travel. But if I could live anywhere else in the world, like city-wise, it would have to be hands down London. I am a huge fan of London. I was lucky enough to go several times. My parents have gone there for business several times, so I was able to tag along with them. It's genuinely one of my favorite places in the whole wide world. That I've been to so far. And you know, just the history, the cities, the architecture, the culture, the people are just so wonderfully nice there. And it's just, yeah, I would love to go back. I believe it's been about like 6 years since I've been, maybe more. Dennis and I did a quick trip over there, just like for a long weekend, just to sightsee, and I could definitely spend easily like 2 weeks there and having a blast. So yeah, I guess so far on the list is Maine and London, if I could ever move somewhere. Yeah, Caribbean, I don't know if there are places in the Caribbean I could see myself moving to, but I think, yeah, you can't take the city out of a girl, I'm sorry. It definitely has to be one of those places where I can just easily roll out of bed and get to somewhere where I don't exactly have to drive 20 minutes to get to everywhere, if that makes any sense. But I do love the city, or I do love city living. So I hope that answers your question. One more, we do have time for one more. Do I? Oh, okay. Little Critters wants to know, after attending Vogue Knitting Live, what do you think is new and on trend for knitting and fiber art? Okay, I think hands down, fades. Speckled fades are all the rage right now. I think even Stephen West posted about this on Instagram. It's like just everyone is doing the Find Your Fade by Andrea MOWRY. There are several patterns that are using fades, and it's everywhere, which is amazing. So that's what I think is the new big thing. I could be wrong. If you have any input or suggestions as to what you think, or ideas of what you viewers think that is the new big trend, please feel free to share them in the Ravelry thread, or down below in the comments. I'd love to hear. So yeah, I could definitely see myself knitting more fades. I know Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade Designs, she just came out with the Snow Melt Cal, which I really want to participate in. It's an MCAL, a mystery knit along. I've never done mystery knit alongs before, or I've never done a mystery knit along before, so I think this might have to be my first because her patterns are very beautiful. And I'm all about the fade as well. So I definitely want to dye some yarn for that too. So I don't know. Maybe this weekend, we'll see. Again, I want to finish so many things. It's like whips overload. But anyway, I think I might have to cast on that shawl this weekend. So anyway, do check that out. But yeah, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer on the podcast or in general, please feel free to leave them in the YarnGasm Ask Away thread. Yay! The Ravelry YarnGasm podcast group Ask Away thread. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, okay. That is it for this week. I do have a shop update. I am actually going to be having a shop update on Monday as opposed to today is Friday when I'm recording, but I had to get the Yarn Club, the wholesale order out for the Little Skein and the Big Wool collaboration that I did. So that had to take priority this week, but so instead of the normal Friday update, I'm pushing it to Monday, which is Monday, February 6th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I hope you can make it. But let me go get some of the yarn that I will have in the shop. Okay, first up, by popular demand, we have some more Mexican hot chocolate. And here it is on Footsie. And then I will have Evil Queen on several bases. So here we have it on Footsie. And we have it on WOLKE, which is a merino nylon cashmere blend. And then I will have some fairy hair, which I feel like I haven't dyed up in a while. So here we have it on Cocoon, which is my Aran weight. And then again on Footsie, which is my BFL sock blend. And then I dyed up a new colorway, which it kind of happened as a happy accident. I was having a little fun on my birthday for free swim, and I dyed up a birthday colorway like you do. And I actually really like the way this turned out. So this will be a regular, and this is called Goth Day Cake because if y'all know me, I tend to veer towards the goth side of things. I generally wear a lot of black and like bats and Edward Gorey and the like. So anyway, Goth Day Cake it is, and yeah, it just got a great reaction on Instagram, so I decided to make it a regular. However, because it was a free swim colorway, I did not write down the formula as I was dyeing it, which happens, you know. So I tried to replicate it, although I do know what I did wrong now because I remember the colors, the dyes that I used to make it, but not the quantities or the amounts. So I think the batch that I dyed, the first batch that I dyed of this, the first full batch that I dyed of this turned out a little darker than expected. So this will be a misfit. These will be going in the shop as a misfit. I have it dyed on several bases, but I don't know if you can see. So yeah, it's a little dark and not as speckly, but nonetheless, it's still in the same family. But yeah. Anyway, there'll be some misfit versions of this, but today I'm going to be dyeing some more the appropriate way, and the way it was meant to be dyed, and yeah, some misfit skeins for you. And yeah, today I'm going to be dyeing some more, hopefully some over the weekend, and doing the shop update on Monday, so I hope you can make it. Again, I don't have as many colorways to show you this week because the collaboration yarn had to take priority. And I will also be dyeing the first installment of the sock club the first sock club of the year that I'm hosting. I will be dyeing that next week and getting those out in the mail to you. So yay, very excited about that. And I hope you guys are excited as well. So yes, okay. I think that is it for this week. I feel like my voice is going again and just been talking a lot to get out again. But as far as blather is concerned, as I mentioned, it was my birthday on Tuesday and we had a really lovely, or I had a very lovely day. Dennis had to work a little late, but I did work on my birthday because I had to get the orders out in the mail and just take care of a couple of other things. But yeah, I did manage to get some knitting done and crocheting, working on my granny stripe blanket. But then afterwards, Dennis and we went out to eat. We had a really lovely dinner, and then yeah, came home and went to bed. So not crazy. Again, it was a school night, so you know, I did have work in the morning, and yeah, so anyway, I kind of wanted it to be kind of like a low-key birthday anyway. So this weekend, I am just gonna take the time to get some more crafting done, maybe finish my dress, first of all, and get a start on Dennis's Valentine's Day project, his messenger bag, the Cooper messenger bag that I plan on sewing for him. And yeah, because pretty much Dennis is still hunkering down studying for an exam, which I believe is happening next week before we leave for Palm Springs. So yeah, this weekend should be pretty chill again, which I'm very happy about. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I mean, things have just been really busy. I could definitely use a couple days to wind down and just not do anything. Like I'm pretty much due for another knitcation, it feels like, just to get the creative juices flowing again, because I just feel like I've been constantly moving nonstop. So I could use a little bit of a break. But anyway, that said, I think that is it for this week, you guys. So before I get ahead of myself and totally lose my voice, I'm gonna say goodbye now, and with that, happy knitting, and I will see you next time. Bye.